We are working on Unit 5, Lesson 7, Remembering today, and it is review. We are reviewing multiplication with decimals as well as decimal division when you have a decimal in the dividend. We have two story problems today, and before we get started, you can go ahead and take a second and put an X through stretch your thinking. We'll go ahead and look at the first story problem together. It says Tyler is making a history project and needs 2 poster boards. He cuts one to measure 42.25 inches in length. He cuts the second to measure 34.75 inches in length. What is the difference between the two lengths of poster board? When we're looking for the difference between two, we know that we are going to be completing a subtraction problem. And so we're going to take our 42.25 or 42 and 25 hundredths inches, and we're subtracting from that 34.75 or 34 and 75 hundredths inches. Remember, anytime you're adding and subtracting with decimals, you have to line those decimals up. So go ahead and bring it down first thing. 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. You can't complete 2 minus 7, so we have to borrow. The 2 becomes a 12, and this 2 becomes a 1. So 12 minus 7 is equal to 5, and this 1 we're going to have to borrow. The 4 becomes a 3, and this 1 becomes an 11, and 11 minus 4 is equal to 7. And 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So the difference is 7.5 inches. So it says, what is the difference between the two lengths of poster board? And it's going to be 7.5 inches. Now we can go down and look at problems 3 through 8. And here we're multiplying decimals. And remember, when you're multiplying a decimal, you don't do anything with the decimal until the end. You complete the multiplication piece first. So let's look at number 3. We have 0.05 or 5 hundredths, and we're multiplying that by 0.4 or 4 tenths. So we're going to go ahead and first ignore the decimal altogether. 4 times 5 is equal to 20. Put down your 0, carry your 2. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. And now we need to figure out where our decimal belongs. We go back into the original problem and we count how many numbers follow the decimal. Well, here's 1, and here's 1. So we have 3 numbers that follow a decimal in the original problem. So we go to the right of our answer, and we're going to shift to the left 3 places because there's 3 numbers that follow a decimal. 1, 2, 3, and then we put in our decimal. Now anywhere we have a blank space, it's a 0. So our answer here is going to be 0.02 or 2 hundredths. Let's go ahead and practice one more together. We'll look at number 4. We have 2 and 5 tenths, or 2.5, and we're multiplying that by 5. We're going to go ahead and ignore the decimal in the beginning. 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Put down your 5, carry your 2. 5 times 2 is equal to 10, plus 2 is equal to 12. I'm going to go up into my original problem and count how many numbers follow a decimal in the original problem. Only 1 follows a decimal here, so we're going to take and we're going to shift our decimal 1 place to the left. And our answer here is going to be 12 and 5 tenths, or 12.5. We're going to go down and do a little review with our division. We'll do number 9 together. And in number 9, we have a divisor of 5. And we are dividing that 5 into 17 and 4 tenths, or 17.4. So our dividend is 17.4. Now, when you're dividing with decimals and you have a decimal in the dividend, the first thing you do every time is put your decimal on the line. So put that decimal up above it right away, line that up, and then go ahead and complete your division. 5 cannot go into 1 because it is larger. 5 can go into 17 3 times without going over. 5 times 3 is equal to 15. I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 7 minus 5 is equal to 2, and 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. You can complete your check and make sure that your remainder here is a 2, and make sure that it's less than your divisor, which is 5, and it is. So you're good. You can go ahead and bring down your 4. 5 can go into 24 4 times. 5 times 4 is equal to 20. And we can go ahead and subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Now we need to keep moving on because we're working with decimals. And in order to do that, we need to go back up top and add a 0 and then bring it down. And 5 can go into 40. And 5 times 8 is equal to 40, and 40 minus 40 is 0. And now we are finished because we do not have a remainder. So our answer here is going to be 3 and 48/100ths, or 3.48. You can go ahead now and complete the rest of the page on your own. When you have finished, please take a picture of your work, attach it to your assignment, upload, and turn it in on Teams.